Ferris, we're going to start with you on this one. So we call this segment Know Thy Enemy. There was a spring game from the Ohio State University last Saturday on Fox with Joel Klatt on the field with Jenny Taft, which was very interesting. Coach Urban Meyer was doing color commentating. So it was a very interesting mix of people in the broadcast. But a lot that we saw and a lot of storylines, even though they were hiding, of course, you always hold stuff back in a spring game. You're not going to show, a lot of complex, deep passing routes or anything like that. You're going to show vanilla and just get people the game reps, get people some live fire, to start gearing them up for the season. However, a couple of things that Ferris and I saw that might speak to some of the culture situations going on with Ryan Day at Ohio State. So Ferris, the politics that Ryan Day has to navigate now, he kind of is in this crossroads, right? Because on the one side you have NIL, transfer portal, $1 million to play at your school, the me mentality. And then on the other side, you got to instill that culture of toughness. If you're trying to beat Michigan, Michigan has that team first mentality. They don't pay high school players. And we've criticized them for that, honestly, at times, if they're really good. But that's the other side. So Ryan Day has these diametrically opposed situations. So how do you think he's navigating that? And we could start, if you'd like, with quarterbacks on that, and just give me your take.
Yeah. So when back a couple of weeks ago when I said, hey, you know what, Michigan, it's possible, could do a 2 quarterback system. I was criticized for saying if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Well, I just have my notes here because there's so many quarterbacks that Ohio State has. And are any of them better than Kyle McCord with an extra year of experience? Let me just kind of point that out too. You could say that Kyle McCord was mid or whatever last year, but you would think he would be better this year, right? So there's Will Howard, there's Devin Brown, there's Lincoln Kleinholtz. And then the thing that's interesting to me are the 2 freshmen. They have 2 5-star freshmen, one right-handed, one left-handed. I believe if you have a left-handed player who's not quite a starter, is in the mix, that's actually difficult for the offensive line. Some of the assignments have to kind of flip-flop, protecting the weak side, et cetera. So you've got Air Nolan and you got Julian Sayin. So in Ohio, so for those of you who don't know, Ohio State, they take off the black stripe from their helmet and they make it red. It's red underneath. If a player truly has become an Ohio State Buckeye, well, Air Nolan, who committed first, who's still has the black stripe. It was almost like an albatross. He's playing around there. He still has the black stripe. And then you've got Julian Sayin, who is the chosen one, it seems. So out of the 2 5-star quarterbacks, one has the black stripe, one does not. In this era of NIL, of portal, it seems like that's not a great political move. It seems like potentially Air Nolan might be saying, "Wait, what's going on here? Should I consider the transfer portal?" Now I know Air Nolan has loved the Buckeyes. That's what I understand. But there was another quarterback that was like that as well. His name was J.J. McCarthy. So I'm just throwing that out there. Just some thoughts with respect to that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed, and I have been on the Air Nolan train for a while. The Buckeyes that know me know that I have criticized Ryan Day, because Air Nolan, for all this time during the recruiting process, during the beginning part, until they knew they could get Sayin, right? Air Nolan was supposed to be the guy. He was pumped up to be the guy. Everybody was talking about him as the guy. And then all of a sudden, Julian Sayin's available, and let's just throw this kid to the side. I understand there were some behind the scenes issues. Rod Farva, feel free to comment about. I know you were talking about that. But the bottom line is Air Noland had 2 drives and 2 touchdowns. The third was a mix of him and another guy I didn't even know his name that was playing at the end, and he threw in a desperation, like, just chuck it, it's a spring game, and he got a pick. But like I don't really count that, because let's be honest, it was the last thing. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for Air Noland. Like, I don't know how you could do anything else. The kid is talented. And I think he should, like, I actually believe out of all the quarterbacks, and I know this is going to be controversial, out of all the quarterbacks that Ohio State has right now, Howard, Devin Brown, Julian Sayin, Klein Holtz, I believe Air Noland should be the starting quarterback.
I don't know.
I do. And at this point, I think it's too late. At this point, it's probably too late. But he was able to showcase his talent so that another school can take him as the starter, and then watch this space. Whatever school takes him, he's going to ball out. So anyway, TJ, thoughts on that? And I know you didn't go as in depth in the spring game, but just in general, the quarterback battle that you've been eyeing up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I think Kyle McCord is better than all of their quarterbacks. And if Michigan had Kyle McCord, we'd be a dangerous-ass team. I'll tell you that right now. I wish he didn't go to Syracuse. I think that's where he went.
Yeah, Syracuse.
So, I mean, if we had Kyle McCord, we could make a run with Kyle McCord. So that just goes to show you the difference between Michigan and Ohio State. I don't think Air Noland is I don't think Air Noland's the answer for them right now, because he's a freshman. You know, I have a big thing against freshman quarterbacks starting. I do think Will Howard's probably going to win the battle whenever they announce it at some point. You know, they have a quarterback problem at Ohio, and just like we do, we don't have a quarterback. They don't have a quarterback. I would say maybe their stable of quarterbacks is maybe a little more, I guess, talented than ours. Maybe ours is more unknown, but I mean, I don't fear Ohio State's quarterback situation. In my opinion, it's a downgrade from last year. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes this fall, because they're stuck. They're not getting another quarterback in the portal. So, you know, we'll see. And, you know, they chose their bed to lie in it. And I bet you Kyle McCord's going to look a lot better this season at Syracuse.
Yeah, I'd agree with Will Howard. But there's adjustment period. I think he's coming in from K-State, different system, all that kind of stuff. But I also agree that I believe Kyle McCord needs a system around him. Yes, that's true. But I think he would have taken it to the next level at OSU this year. And that Notre Dame game was a good example. And you know, at another point, he did win the Notre Dame game, and there were when Michigan played Alabama, when Michigan played Washington, Michigan made those quarterbacks look just like Kyle McCord. So maybe it was the Michigan defense and not the quarterback. So just some thoughts there as well.
Yeah, they need a scapegoat, though. You know, Ryan Day needs an excuse.
Here we go. People are calling me out. Here we go. This is the huddle tape of Air Noland. 15-0 state champions. Watch this space. I'm telling you, 4,090. I know it's high school. 4,095 passing yards, 55 touchdowns. Watch this space, man. This is the guy right here. And look at the cannon. Look at the cannon. Boom. So all I'm saying is, if you need a place to go, Air Noland, if you need a place to go, I bet, even though we have a lot of quarterbacks right now, there could be a place for you at the Michigan Wolverines. If you're feeling a little underappreciated, there could be a place for you. All right, I think I've done that one to death.
Yeah. Just one other quick point on a non-quarterback, Jeremiah Smith. Did you catch?
Yes. Sorry, we should cover that. Yes, Jeremiah Smith.
The LeBron James 2.0 is Jeremiah Smith. Did you catch that on TV there? when they mention that. So
yeah. I've heard LeBron James, the second coming of Christ. I've heard the best football player in the history of time. And then look, you're going to see practice footage where he looks really good. In the spring game, he went up against the defense, and he's a freshman. Like he will get better, but that is a little concerning that when the defense really turned it on, because they really did turn it on in the spring game. I gotta say, he had them out and just going after the offense because he wanted to win. I mean, it was offense versus defense. So yeah, I didn't see it yet, but again, spring games, as Mark pointed out earlier, Justin Fields went like 4 for 15 or something like that in the spring game, and then look at the season he had. So I mean, there's only so much we can read from Jeremiah Smith and his performance so far.
Yeah, it was. Part of this is it's a TV commercial for OSU, just like it's going to be a TV commercial for Michigan. And part of this is, that's you got to hype up players. You've got to have, something to anticipate, that sort of thing, right? So,
let me add this too. I mean, so Ohio State's losing Marvin Harrison Jr., right? So let's say Jeremiah Smith is even 3/4 of that, or even 50%, right? And that's not. Listen, we have Will Johnson, so my concern of Jeremiah Smith or any Ohio State wide receiver this season is not really much, because our defense confuses their offense. And like we said, I personally believe there's a downgrade at quarterback at Ohio State. So even if Jeremiah Smith is a great wide receiver, it's nothing Michigan hasn't seen. Garrett Wilson and name all the others. We haven't seen the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years anyways. And the last 3 years, we've gone against our share of top-notch number one wide receivers. So whatever, maybe he's great, maybe he's not. We'll find out. And, nothing new with Ohio State.
Yeah, and I will say, the reason I'm not talking too much about the defense is because we know what they are. They're excellent. Kudos to Jim Knowles. He has earned every bit of his $2 million a year contract. I know they're paying him 2, and then they're paying Chip like 2 and 2.2 or something. They're both getting $2 million plus. But I believe that the defense was the reason they were in so many games, and the reason why they did as well as they did, because Kyle McCord, let's be honest, despite having the best wide receiver in college football, he definitely underperformed, especially against Michigan, threw some picks, and so yeah, I don't know.
But the problem with Ohio State's defense is the trenches, right? I mean, I know they have the prospects and the high level talent, but they get bullied, man. Their defensive line gets pushed, especially you see it against Michigan, you see it against Oregon, and we're going to really find out next season, because both teams are playing tougher schedules. But the weakness, to my opinion, of Ohio State's defense is its trenches when it plays teams with superior offensive lines. So we'll see. I mean, I know they're loaded up this year. They're going to be a talented team. We'll see what they got.
Man, the Buckeyes are flying in here today. I love it. Buckeyes, welcome. Okay, USA Network had characters welcome. We say Buckeyes welcome because the more Buckeyes in here hate chatting, the more viewership we get. So tell your friends, come on in here and say what you want, and we'll debate it if we think it's merited. But we love this. So Mark is saying, Michigan won't win the BIG or the Natty without better quarterback play and better O-line play. Yes, the defense. I believe the defense is extremely good. You mentioned the D-line. I get it, but overall, I think the defense kept them in games. But yeah, they need to find a quarterback, and I don't think it's the guy who's going to get benched at Kansas State. Devin Brown has looked, I would call him workmanlike in terms of, he actually reminds me a bit of Cade McNamara's ability, but with legs. So if it were me, I would say Aaron Nolan, but if they're going to go game one with, okay, let's go with experience. I understand why you would look at Howard for game one, but like, to me, it just doesn't make sense where they're at. So they're going to need to find somebody, and it's up to Ryan Day and Chip Kelly to put that together. And that leads to our final point on the Ohio State spring game. What differences did we see aside from the homage, which it was an homage to Woody Hayes in the first play? They did a T formation, was really cool. That play would have gone for maybe 1 yard in a real game, but that's fine. I love when teams are on the T formation, like at the goal line. I think it's fun. But other than that, Ferris, since you were looking at kind of the specifics there, was there anything that you saw that looked a little different from how Ryan Day? I know that they both spent a lot of time together at the Eagles, and Ryan Day was Chip Kelly's quarterback all the way back. But like, did you see some nuances and some differences there?
Yeah, I mean, first the quote from Chip Kelly, and I'm going to read this verbatim. They asked him on Fox national TV, "Why are you here?" It was kind of a funny question, right? And his answer was, "The best part of football is football. I just want to coach football." So, what he's saying there, I mean, the way I read it, and I respect this, sometimes you're in a job and you've got administrative stuff and you've got marketing stuff and you've got things that I just want to go into work. I just want to do my job. And, I can respect that answer, so as someone who has had all kinds of different jobs in my career, I can totally respect that answer. He wants to be a football coach. He doesn't want to get into NIL. He doesn't want to go recruit. He doesn't want to do all those things. He just wants to play football or coach football. I believe that Chip Kelly wants to run more. If you looked at when we kind of analyzed Ohio State versus Michigan, Ohio State was pretty close to 50-50. I think it was 51% run, 49% pass last year. Mm-hmm. Michigan was over 60%. Alabama was even higher than Michigan. Alabama, coming out of the high-flying SEC, ran more than Michigan, as a percentage of plays. So I believe Chip Kelly wants to get that 51% number closer to Michigan, maybe closer to that 60% number. But I don't think Ryan Day can help himself. So that's going to be a really interesting dynamic, because you could hear it on the broadcast. Chip Kelly probably called the right play, got a touchdown, and Ryan Day was like, "Yeah, you should have thrown it. Why didn't you throw it?" Maybe he wanted the style points. He wanted to, and he was saying that during the broadcast while he was mic'd up. So, just an interesting dynamic. Is Chip Kelly going to have veto power over Ryan Day when it comes to passing, running versus passing, especially against Michigan?
TJ, what do you think that dynamic's going to be? It's kind of hard when the mentor is being managed by the mentee, like when the roles get reversed, that can be a tough dynamic.
Yeah, there could be a power struggle because Chip's used to running his own show, and we'll see if anything happens. I mean, honestly, I don't think there'll be any turbulence unless they start losing. If they lose a game, they drop a game, or a critical down happens that costs them a game, then you might start seeing some turbulence or some thread start to unravel. But I think it'll be all right. I think by the time the season comes around, they'll probably get on the same page for the most part. But if they take a hard loss, especially early in the year, you could see, maybe some headbutting going on. There's definitely going to be a power struggle at some point if things don't go the way that they're envisioning in terms of winning. So we'll see. It'll be an interesting situation to watch.